Hello. In this video, we're going to look at CBTs in detail. We're going to see the difference between practice CBTs and the other kinds of CBTs. So we're logged into a demo account already. Get into the term. And as it is, if I scroll down to my subjects, I would see that I teach quantitative and others for different classes. So let's say I want to create CBT for quantitative reasoning, and I click on it. Of course, I get into the subject, quantitative reasoning. If I scroll down past the students that are taking quantitative for the term, and I move down to where I have CBT, and I click on it, you'll see that for the button to create new CBTs, and if I click on that button, say add new CBT, you see that there are different options. There's one for exam, for test, for third test, second test, first test, and practice. There's a huge difference between them. Let me click that for practice quiz and show you a little difference. Okay, now this is to create practice CBT. If you look at this breadcrumb that shows address where I get to this page, you notice that where I have new CBT, there's also a place called practice quiz. You can also see it here too, practice quiz. And if you scroll down to the form for creating practice CBTs, it's going to be, you will see that there are some fields that are not here. Like for instance, there's no supervisor password here. There's no asking me whether I want to record the scores as continuous assessment scores. But if we go back and say we want to create CBT for first test, if you click on that, you will notice that, of course, it's showing first test. That's not the only difference. If you scroll down, you will see that apart from questions, duration, there's also a field called use as termly score, which is by default is yes. And if you see under it, it is written, use this CBT performance as the termly score, which means when the student answers this CBT, the scores will be automatically recorded in their result sheet or in the spreadsheet. That is what it means. If you say yes, that is what it means. You can change it to no if you just want to use the CBT and manually collect the results of all the scores for this CBT. It's the same thing if you are creating a CBT for second test, third test, and even exams. You can decide for the results to be automatically recorded, or you want to record it yourself. Then it has duration, it has, okay, used for termly scores. We've seen that. Number of attempts, it remains the same. My advice is for tests, because they are tests, it shouldn't be more than 2 attempts. It can be 1 attempt, it can be 2 attempts, but it shouldn't be more than that. Though you can make it up to how many attempts you want. You can make it up to 1,000 attempts, 1 million attempts, it's your choice. But if it's a test, then it shouldn't be repeated. If there is scores are going to be recorded and so stuff. If you want to do something that has multiple results, then use practice CBTs where the scores definitely will not be recorded, by default. And if you scroll down further, there's also another place, supervisor password. This one is not in the practice CBTs. And you can see that it's optional. You can leave it blank or you can enter a password. If you read under it, it says case sensitive. Leave blank if CBT will not be supervised. This means if you want the CBT to be passworded, that by the time a student logs into his account, go to the CBT, wants to take the quiz, he will not be able to take that quiz except the supervisor, someone that knows the supervisor password, enters the password before the student can access the questions. It is used in cases where, for instance, it is a standard exam. You are going to be having supervisors in the hall. You already have systems in the hall. Everybody come in, they log in, and then it's either you tell them the password to start it themselves, or you type in the password for them, and then they can start the exam. And without this password, nobody can take a CBT. So that's the basic difference. So I'm going to create first test CBT for sure now, just to show you a few things. So let's say this CBT is going to have like 5 questions, and let's say I want it to be 10 minutes because at least it's a practice quiz. It's a real quiz that we're going to record the scores because we'll be recording the scores not by ourselves. We want the computer to record it for us automatically. We leave yes, yes. If we don't want it, we can say no, but I want it to record it automatically for my students. So it's going to say yes. And then the number of attempts for this CBT, I'm going to leave it at 2, probably because I know that we can have maybe some system glitch and all that. I'll just leave it at 2, which means the student can take it twice maximum. But I'm not going to tell them this. The practice quiz, I'm not going to tell them this. It's only those that have problems that I will be encouraged to take it twice. And supervisor password, well, you can leave this as blank. You don't need to put this. But I'm going to put it because in the next video, I'm going to show you what it actually does to a CBT. So I'm going to type in a password for this CBT. And then I want it to be available to students in Foundation 1 only. And I click on save. Once I save this, the CBT is created. Now you can see the notice here says CBT created, start adding questions. The same way for practice CBTs. And if you scroll down, you will see the required questions are 5, questions now are 0. Supervisor CBT is here. I can see this, of course, because I'm not a student. A student will not be able to see this. And then you can see who created it and the classes that are going to be doing it. And you can see the status is pending. Remember, for practice CBTs, it is always approved. For this one, we want to keep it at pending. Why? Exams, tests that are recorded, the questions are usually vetted and approved. So it has to be the same thing here. All right. So let's just start adding questions to this CBT. Now, in adding questions, we're going to go more details. So I'm going to stop this video and do a part 2 about adding questions so that I can go into more details about adding questions to your CBT.